Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Click Chick podcast. Today's host is one of my favorite people ever, which you'll be pleased to hear, is Kiley, my sister.
Hello.
So she does actually have photo experience. She has worked for my brother-in-law as a second photographer multiple times. If you've ever been to my website, you would have read like the About Me section, which talks about me doing Barbie wedding photography. She was the one.
I was there.
Yes, it was us together. Your best friend was with us, and we would take cute little photos of Barbies, heavily edited with sepia tones.
Yes.
Yeah. But it was cute. It was good. Honestly, I think we did a really good job.
I think for the age that we were, we were on it.
I wish we could find those photos. A couple years ago, we went on like a deep dive to try to find them. And
they at one point were like on my Facebook page in their own little album, and I think I must have deleted it because I was embarrassed. Like when I got into like actual adulthood, I was like, okay, I don't think that these need to be on my Facebook anymore, just in case anybody's lurking on me. They don't need to see that I once had a Facebook album for Barbie wedding photos.
Oh no, I deleted like everything. Once I went through puberty and was like an adult and actually looked cute, I deleted everything. I have like nothing of me from like age 10 to 15. Hidden. Yeah. hidden.
It's a hidden folder now, or it's just deleted.
No, it's deleted. I was like, I don't even want to remember. And now that I'm like a full-blown adult and my prefrontal cortex is developed, I like regret it. And I'm like, oh, I wish I had some photos of myself at 12 years old. But 15-year-old McKenna was like, delete. The boys are going to be looking at this.
Actually, like in hindsight, actually, I think I'm on the same page, except for now as an adult, I really still do not want to see those pictures of me. Me at 13 was really sad.
There still are photos of you on your Facebook.
I probably need to go... Maybe before this podcast airs, I probably need to go back on.
Go stalk Kiley Duncan.
Yeah. Don't. Please don't. Everyone. Kiley. They're going to spell my name wrong anyway.
Yeah, you're good. You're anonymous
no one's even going to know.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great.
If you're watching the video, you might also notice that we are drinking some tea today, which is Kiley's business. She is the owner of a tea company called Tea and Toast.
Yeah.
What's the blend we're drinking today?
It's actually a custom blend for our other sister's coffee shop that we just blended for their coffee shop. And so it's like a kind of zingy chamomile, ginger, lemon sort of
herbal.
Love
chamomile.
Yeah.
Should we start with a cheers?
Yeah, of course.
Cheers to the sister pod. Okay, so this episode, we're going to do some Reddit readings. And the topic of the episode is photographers, if they were treated poorly or not. So I told you to think about a situation where either you were treated really well by clients or really poorly. Did you do your homework?
A little bit.
Do you have a story?
So I have a story about being treated like really, really well.
We love positivity.
So we can start off on like a good note.
Yeah.
Okay. So my husband, Kyle, and we were hired by some friends to, which we didn't know them like super, super well, but like we knew them well enough to, Well, anyways, we're hired to do their wedding, and we don't normally shoot a bunch of weddings, but at the time we had been doing that a lot together, which I'm sure you remember.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they went all out for their wedding, which was awesome. And we got to really enjoy the fruits of that because they paid for us to stay in Mexico for their wedding.
Oh, the Mexico wedding.
5 days. Yes. That to me was like, they even paid for us, I think, to stay like an extra day.
That's so nice.
Yeah. Just so we could like enjoy ourselves like after the wedding and like hang out with people and just kind of like sit on the beach and like do whatever we wanted. So that to me, I was like, okay, they covered our plane tickets. They covered our stay. They went above and beyond. It was like all travel expenses. Plus, I think, I don't remember, but like, I feel like they even like included us in like things that we were like, as the photographers, you normally wouldn't be included in, like all the parties. And like, they were like, you don't have to take photos, just enjoy.
Oh, nice.
So it was actually awesome. That I feel like is like top tier. Cause they like, even though we kind of knew them and we're kind of friends, it was still like early in the friendship. So we didn't expect that. Yeah. So that was actually really fun. I feel like that was like elite experience. Oh, like, yeah. Okay, we're going to Mexico. We're shooting a wedding and like we're working. But it was like, yeah, I don't know. Good memories. It was like good memories all around because we really did get to enjoy ourselves and have like downtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That brings up
So-
another question for me.
Yeah.
I just did an episode with my friend Houston about when photographers should work for free.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm wondering, what is your opinion about working for free when it comes to a destination wedding? Like, would you do a destination wedding because your flight is covered, your room is covered, but you don't get paid for the actual work? So like, you're not coming away with any cash. You're just getting a free vacation, but you have to work on vacation.
I don't know. I probably would do it for free.
Yeah.
At that point, because it's like a vacation.
I mean, like, if you only do it once a year,
Yeah.
twice a year, like, obviously you have to like get that bag somehow.
Right.
But
Well, right. I think in that case, it totally makes sense. But like, if you're doing it like, you can't, obviously it's not sustainable for like every single wedding.
yeah.
But like, if you did that a couple times a year, like, you know, a couple times a year, heck yeah.
Well, I think it's just a personal decision too, if like
Right.
it's worth it to you or not.
Right. Well, Mexico, yeah, that
Yeah.
totally, I would have been like, yeah, probably never going to Mexico again.
Right.
Well, maybe, but like, you know, I didn't see it in the near future at the time. So I was like, okay, like, I don't know. In that situation, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Or if we were going somewhere in Europe, like,
I wanna go to
if we break
Italy.
even, right?
If you're listening
It's
and you're
so
getting
pretty.
married in Italy, I will shoot your wedding for travel cost only.
I mean, seriously, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, if it's like a once in a lifetime opportunity, then yeah,
Right,
I think that
especially in
makes
off
sense.
season. Like,
Yeah,
you
there you
know,
go,
I
that
hardly
too.
work in the summer. Like, take me wherever and I will do it for travel costs. Now, I mean, like, there's caveats to that, but
yeah, well, right, yeah, with everything.
Yeah. Okay. So my story, I treated poorly, not by the couple. All of my couples are literally amazing. I just did an engagement session and the clients were like, "Oh, tell us a horror story about clients." And I told them, I was like, "I don't have one.
Right.
Like, I've been doing this almost 8 years and have only had amazing clients. I mean, there have been weird like mother-in-laws, aunts, siblings, but like my actual clients are fantastic. But my, like, I don't want to call it a horror story, but my annoyance is when you shoot at a really nice venue or even just like a venue in general, but somehow it's only happened to me at nice venues where you like shoot the whole wedding. The catering staff is like, you can't eat until everybody else has eaten. And I'm like, okay,
I know where this is going.
cool. Like, I'd prefer to eat when the bride and groom are eating, but it's all good. If that's their policy, that's their policy. And, if you guys don't know, the reason I prefer to eat when the bride and groom eat is not because I'm like frou-frou bougie. It's because I like to be done with my break by the time the bride and groom are done eating, because they don't want any photos of themselves stuffing their faces with food. So when they're done eating, they go around and mingle. I want to be able to capture them going around and mingling. All to say, going down a rabbit hole, is when the catering staff tells the bride and groom in advance, okay, we'll provide vendor meals that are different than what your guests are going to be eating. And to the clients, it's pitched well, where it's like, oh, we'll take care of your vendors. We've got vendor meals. It's cheaper for you guys.
That is what they say. We'll take care of your vendors.
Which like sounds great. Like if I were as a bride and I didn't know any better, I'd be like, fantastic, thank you so much.
Right.
But what they do is they'll give us the cheapest cold sandwich that has probably been sitting out since like 2 p.m.
This, you don't even know how many times. And I haven't even shot that many weddings or like second shot, but you don't even know like how many times this has happened to me.
Yeah.
Personally too.
And it's like, it'll be a weird like ham and mayonnaise only. And then they give you a little bag of chips, maybe a cookie, and a miniature-sized bottle of water.
You know, this is probably really relatable to so many other people in the industry too.
Yeah.
And if you're like a new photographer and you're not at this point yet, your time will come. Like you will know exactly what we were talking about. Well, so that's definitely like the sad end of like, oh, treated poorly. Like,
right. And it's not the client's fault. Like if they knew, I'm sure they would be like, no, eat what we're eating or eat. No, they don't. The venue or the caterer is trying to cheap out. I mean, they still charge like 20 instead of 50, 75, 125, whatever it is.
Right.
They'll still charge a stupid amount for the vendor meal, and then they give us like $3 worth of food.
Like it's like from Food Lion,
right? No, like they're like, let me get that $5 foot long. No, even Subway would be better than the sandwiches.
Actually, that is so true.
I think they go to the gas station and get
like
us sandwiches.
A stale, yes,
it's like a gas station. Yeah.
Ugh. This is disgusting. Yes, but I have had to eat many of those. And at that point too, as like the photographer, second shooter, you are like famished. usually
No, we have
at that
such long
point
days.
in
It's
the
like you
day.
start at 10 a.m., 1 p.m., and then you don't get to eat until 7.
Right.
You don't hardly get water breaks, like anything, and then they don't provide. It's
Well, yeah, and then by the time you finish eating that stale, nasty sandwich with plain, bland chips and your teeny tiny bottle of water from Walmart or whatever.
Yeah, great value water.
Great value waters. By the time you, as the photographer, finish that, like, you feel even worse. So it would actually probably be better if you just didn't eat it all at that point.
No, I don't eat it because I'm worried about the meat being, because it's never cold.
Right. Yes.
And so I'm always worried about getting like food poisoning from it. So I don't even eat it. But yeah, so overall, it's not the bride and groom's fault. And also, I'm not a complainer, so I'll complain to the coordinator who's also sitting there with me and giving the stink eye to the sandwich. She's like, what are they feeding us? I'm like, yeah, girl, this is crazy. But like, I would never say anything to the couple. I would never like complain about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whatever, I'll get Taco Bell.
On the same thing too, is like, they also stick you in a closet.
Oh, yeah.
So you're super uncomfortable and there's boxes and chairs, like stacks of chairs like behind you, and you're like all crammed into this like tiny little space.
It's hot. There's
and you're
no
like
AC.
trying to like eat this little sandwich. Yeah, there's no AC. You're like sweating and you're just like trying to like hurry up and finish the sandwich in 5 or 10 minutes, and like it's just a nightmare all around. So anyway,
there's a vendor or a venue in Raleigh. I won't name it because I do work there a lot, but the area that they give us vendors to eat at is right next to the men's bathroom. And when I tell you, so the door to the men's bathroom is right next to where our table is. And when the men's door is open, you can see them at the urinal. Now, like, you can't see their little dang-a-lang, but the door's open. You can see them from the back at the urinal, and the door sticks. So when the bathroom door, it doesn't automatically lock behind you. It's not a swinging door. You have to like actively close it. And men love them, but they're kind of not observant. So they don't close the door behind them, and they don't close the door when they leave the bathroom. So there's always a man. And like me and my second photographers, when I work with one, we'll like joke. We're like, oh, you didn't wash your hands, like all that, because you can see it all.
You call them out?
No, we joke about it, but we've never.
Okay.
No, I've thought about it, but I'm like, I don't want to be rude. But also, you would be surprised how many men don't wash their hands.
I don't want to think about it.
Yeah,
I know you're right. But
don't shake hands.
I don't want to think about it. I could go every time I shake a man's hand, I'm already like, I should probably wash my hand at some point after this interaction. Just in case.
There's like a really gross statistic that I'm not going to list on the podcast because this is about photography.
We'll talk about it when we turn off.
I'll whisper it to you later.
I don't know if I want to know.
You probably don't.
Love men. But
no, I just found out that Dad listens to the podcast. He called me the other day and was like, oh, I'm catching up on your episodes, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. So now that I know that, I'm like, we really need to keep it PG. I mean, thank you, Dad, for being one of my biggest fans. I think you might be. You or Mom is like, you always listen to it like the morning it comes out.
Yes, I get, so I go on Spotify and listen right away.
Yeah, comes out at 7 a.m. By 7:30, Kiley's listening.
Usually. Usually when I'm running errands in the morning, I'm like, okay, here we go.
It's so sweet.
Pop my AirPods in.
Yeah, we actually, speaking of just the family dynamic, we come from an entrepreneur household. Yeah. All of us have our own businesses. So Kiley obviously has the tea company. Right. The younger sister. Oh, let me clarify, because I talk about my sister getting married all the time. This is not that sister. So the sister that's getting married, I think by the time this comes out, she might be married already. But that's Leah. This is Kiley. She's been married for a while.
10 years.
Almost 10 years. Yeah. So
I'm not the one about to get married. It's Leah.
Yeah, this one has a baby. They're chill. Yeah.
We're like seasoned adults at this point.
So the married sister with the baby has a tea company. Right. The younger sister, who looks like an identical copy to Kiley, has a coffee shop.
Which we mentioned earlier.
And then our parents have their own businesses. Yeah. And Kiley and I have had businesses since we were kids. Like you 12, started, 11, what was your 12. First one? The newspaper.
Yep, I had a newspaper where I charged our neighbors $1
a month.
I think a month to get, and I would deliver it though, I think every week.
Yeah, you did.
So 25 cents a newsletter is actually a pretty good, good deal, pretty good value. I would put current events in there. It was like back in the day when you and I, because we were kind of like at the same,
basically the same
school
age
level,
Yeah.
and almost the same age. Yeah. We were starting to learn how to use the computer. So this is probably maybe when we were like 8.
Yeah.
Like 7, 8, 9-ish.
Yeah, I think I was 8 when I started my doll clothes company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So probably kind of around the same time we started learning how to use the computer.
I call it wait, hold on. I call it a doll clothes company as if it was successful. I think I sold you clothes. And there was
our allowance or whatever. Yeah. I don't even did we get an allowance? I can't even remember.
We did. No, we would do chores for money.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Anyway,
we weren't just given. Okay,
we're going down a whole rabbit hole. But basically, owning businesses is in our blood because of our parents. So shout out to Dad for trying to always turn every hobby of ours into a business and being like, here's how you could make money with that. And shout out to Mom for every time we had a creative idea, she would take us to the store and buy whatever we needed. She funded every creative idea we ever had. She's like, okay, cool. Here's how you would do it. You down? We're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And
it just worked out.
All of a sudden, you're at Joann Fabrics and
right, the office supply store buying labels. Like, crazy, but good though. It was good parts of like our childhood though. Like, good times.
Yeah,
good times.
No, love it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get out of this tangent. This has nothing to do with photography.
This is what happens when you have your sister on the podcast, though. It's like we're just going to talk about like all the things.
Yeah, we could talk for like an hour, and then all of a sudden we're like, wait, we were supposed to read stories. Going to our Reddit readings today, all of these stories that I took are from the Am I the Asshole podcast. So if you notice that the label for this one is explicit, it's because we're about to say the word asshole a whole lot. I'm sorry if you have kids in the car. This is not the episode for them.
Probably should have put that at the beginning before we start.
It'll have a little E on the episode first.
Okay,
they should know. That's my bad.
Okay.
But yeah, so I know you've listened to all of the episodes, but basically, Am I the Asshole? We read the story, then we judge if they are the asshole or not. And it's like,
so excited.
It's like, you're the asshole, YTA, NTA is not the asshole, ESH is everybody sucks here, and then there's also no assholes here.
Okay.
So those are like the 4.
I will try to remember.
Basically we're just judging.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all good. But
I love it. Other people's drama is what I live for, so this is great.
Well, same. I always say, I'm like, in the wedding industry, we love gossip. Like, we love a good story. So it's all good.
All right, let me get comfortable.
All right, ready for the first story? All right, so this story actually went viral. It made the news. It's a little bit old. It's from maybe like 2 years ago. But I thought it was really interesting, and there still are a lot of people who haven't heard it. But this one like made bigger news.
Okay.
It's a good one.
Okay.
It actually kind of goes along with the story we just had about venues not feeding you.
Okay, great. So we're on. Okay.
All right. Am I the asshole for deleting my friends' wedding photos in front of them? I'm not really a photographer. I'm a dog groomer. I take lots of photos of dogs all day to put on my Facebook and Instagram. It's my thing, if that makes sense. A cut and a photo with every appointment. I very seldom shoot things other than dogs, even if I have a nice setup. A friend of mine got married a few days ago and, wanting to save money, asked if I'd shoot it for them. I told him it's really not my forte, but he convinced me by saying he didn't care if they were perfect. They were on a shoestring budget, and I agreed to shoot it for $250, which is nothing for a 10-hour event. On the day of, I'm driving around following the bride and groom as they go from appointment to appointment before the ceremony, taking photos along the way. I shoot the ceremony, and during the reception, I'm shooting speeches and people mingling. I started around 11 a.m. and was supposed to finish around 7:30. Around 5 p.m., food is being served, and I was told that I cannot stop to eat because I need to be the photographer. In fact, they didn't save me a spot at any table. I'm getting tired, and at this point, kind of regretting doing this for next to nothing. It's also unbelievably hot. The venue is an old Veterans Legion, and it's like 110 degrees outside, and there's no AC. I told the groom I need to take off for 20 minutes to get something to eat and drink. There's no open bar or anything. I can't even get water, and my 2 water bottles are long empty. He tells me I need to either be a photographer or leave without pay. With the heat, being hungry, and generally being annoyed at the circumstances, I asked if he was sure, and he said yes. So I deleted all the photos in front of him and took off saying I'm not his photographer anymore. If I was to be paid $250, honestly, at that point, I would have rather paid $200 just for a glass of cold water and somewhere to sit for 5 minutes. Was I the asshole? They went right on their honeymoon and they've been off of social media, but a lot of people have been posting on their wall asking about photos with 0 responses.
Is that it?
Am I the asshole? Did you hear this story?
I don't think I know about this story. I think this is the first time I've heard it.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait. I forgot about the beginning. Were they friends?
Yeah.
Like, how good of friends? Just my friend?
Just a friend.
A friend?
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay, I'm going to just say, this does not sound like a friend at all.
A friend would make sure you got fed.
Yes. An actual friend would make sure that you had something to eat, had something to drink. I don't know. Maybe we're just really nice people, but I go above and beyond for people I care about.
Human decency.
Yeah. And even if I don't like you, I'm still going to give you like some level of care.
Right.
You know, especially in a situation like this.
There's also labor laws, and not that he's a hired employee or anything, but if you just, again, common sense, like I can't remember, it's been a while since I like actually had an employer when I worked in fast food way back in the day.
Right.
With 15-year-old McGinna. But it's like for every 8 hours you work, you're supposed to have a certain amount of a break.
Right.
So to expect him to work from 11:30 until, or 11 a.m. until 7:30 with no breaks, no food. And like I said earlier, who wants photos of them eating? Like, while guests are eating, you can take a break.
So the groom was being stuck up.
Yeah.
Because the bride wasn't mentioned at all.
Mm-mm.
So was this person like a friend of the groom?
Yeah.
I mean,
he said either be the photographer or leave without pay. As if $250 is a lot of money. It's like, ooh, here's $250.
Also, like, how are you that stressed after you've already walked down the aisle, said the vows? You know what I mean?
It sounds like he had a power trip.
Yeah, it must have been something like that. Or maybe the heat was getting to him too. And he was just kind of like,
everyone's just irritated.
I don't know. I just hate this story. I'm like, I don't know what to say. Honestly, I feel like I probably would have done the same thing as the photographer did. Because it's like, why? I don't know. I mean, I mean, that's definitely awful. Or I would have just left and been like, okay, well, and just given them their photos unedited, maybe.
I would have been so mad, but I would have kept the images, but researched the area's cost for a regular photographer and then been like, I'm only giving you these photos if you pay me $4,000 or whatever that average is. It's like, you don't realize I was doing you a favor. So fine, if you want to treat me like staff, then I'm getting paid as if I'm not a friend.
So finish out the day strong, have really good images and like, you know, all of that. And then hold that over them like, hey, you need to pay me.
Right.
Or you don't get the images. Maybe that would have been a better situation.
Yeah.
I mean, deleting them is kind of just like I'm gonna get you
because then you
back.
have nothing to hold.
Right. That's kind of how it feels.
Petty.
It is pretty petty, but I'm petty sometimes. So no wonder my initial instinct is to be like,
well, jump on this. Because the old me that like didn't stick up for myself, I would be like, just like give them the images, like don't be a jerk. But I hate the idea, and I had another video about this, but I hate the idea of just deleting somebody's photos.
Yeah,
because like there's nothing you can do at that point. I would at least first try to gouge them for money to be a jerk. I'd be like, fine, then pay me what you would pay a photographer. You're welcome that I was doing it for $25 an hour.
Yeah, I agree. Okay,
crazy.
Okay, well, we're on the same page.
Are we?
I know. I think we are, because I'm agreeing with you now.
Okay.
Like, after I've thought about it, my pettiness kind of got the best of me at first. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, like, yeah, maybe I would have done that too. So, okay. I
do think he's the asshole for deleting them. I don't think he is for being upset.
No.
The other person obviously
was more of the asshole.
So I think everyone sucks. Because he could have gone about it.
Except for the bride, because she's not mentioned at all.
She didn't stick up for the friend.
Maybe it wasn't.
Maybe she didn't know.
Maybe she didn't know.
I think everybody sucks here is the verdict. Yeah. I know on Reddit the answer was you're not the asshole, but I think there was like another way around this.
Okay.
Where you can still keep someone's wedding photos.
Jeez, and this made news. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this was like big social media. Like it was all over Facebook.
Crazy. Okay, well, all right.
Yuck.
So everybody sucks.
Yeah.
Boom. Next one.
Next one. Am I the asshole for giving my wedding photographer a bad review? I got married 2 months ago. It was a moderate affair, open bar, nice dress, no kids, at a slightly more upscale place than I would have liked, but I guess you only live once. We hired a photographer through a company, a mid-sized place that assigned you an employee. We met her a few times to go over expectations, venue, etc. No red flags, nothing weird. Day of the wedding, she shows up in a sheer white blouse with lace, completely see-through, and no bra. I noticed, my husband noticed, everyone noticed. I and most of my guests just spent the evening trying to look away. All through the reception, I could overhear people talking about it or joking about it. My husband and I had a good laugh about it after everything was done. Just a sort of a WTF was that? Did that really happen? I guess every wedding needs a weird story, and at least mine didn't involve a guest. A couple of weeks ago, we got the photo package. It was good and in line with what we had paid for. 2 days later, I get one of those automatic emails for a survey asking how they did. Overall, I rated them well and even rated the photographer well, except for the professional category. I gave a 3 out of 5. And in the box filled in, I said that I felt her clothing could have been more professional. A manager called me for more clarity. I explained the outfit and said that it wasn't a big deal, but it wasn't really situationally appropriate. The manager didn't say much, but sounded serious and thanked me for informing them. End of story, right? Well, no. On the weekend, photographer girl shows up drunk on my lawn wearing 3 bras and starts screaming at my house. Long story short, she was let go from her job and felt that I was the asshole to blame. Eventually, we had to call the police to have her removed. People I know are torn. Some think that it was really funny and I should have let it go. Others think it deserved to be called out. Am I the asshole?
No.
You're like stunned in silence right now.
It just took a turn that I didn't expect.
I know. I couldn't help but giggle before I read the paragraph.
So, the person whose wedding it was, are they the asshole?
Yeah.
Well, no.
But
No, they're not. It was their day.
Can we just talk
Also
about
a
what she was wearing?
A 3 out of 5. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're being very kind about
They are being
their review.
really nice.
I mean, it said it was a sheer white top with lace, and she wasn't wearing a bra, which means the nipplies are out.
Yeah. It's inappropriate. Why did
The
she
fact
think
that they
was okay to
didn't make
wear?
her like go home and change or like go to the nearest gas station and buy some gas station
Yeah.
t-shirt or like I don't know, give her a groomsman jacket to wear.
I mean, for me, like, as once being a bride, I would have probably said something. Like, hey.
I wouldn't let that happen at my
like,
wedding.
hey, here's a bra you can borrow.
Wait.
Or here's a tank top. I'm vocal with things like that. So if I'm uncomfortable or if I feel like something's an issue, I usually speak up.
You know what we're
with
not
things.
acknowledging though is that she's wearing white to the wedding.
Oh, I already thought about that when you read it.
Oh, that didn't even cross my mind. Like how
No.
inappropriate.
Yeah, it's inappropriate, obviously, to wear white, but like that wouldn't have been as big of an issue for me. I mean, normally the photographer will wear like black or like a dark color so that they kind of don't, they don't
Draw attention.
Right.
Yeah.
They blend in a little bit better.
How did she find their address? Maybe they did. She found her address from like getting ready photos. Maybe they got ready at the client's house, so she knew where they lived.
Right.
Because I was like, this can't be real. How did she know where they lived? But that would make sense.
Yeah. I mean, when there's a will, there's a way.
I like how
So
like they complain, right? And then the manager calls and it's like, oh, what was wrong with her outfit? It's like, okay, well, you could see underneath her shirt.
Right.
And then she's like, oh, you want me to wear a bra? Here's 3 bras.
Right. She's like so extra. Like, yeah. Ridiculous.
That's chaos.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a little much that she was let go from her job. But honestly, if she's this crazy, then she probably was like, well, I don't see a problem with my outfit. And
oh, absolutely
so she probably, so if they confronted her about it, I bet that she made it a really big deal.
Yeah.
And turned it around on them. And then they're like, okay, well, because you're acting like this, now we're going to have to let you go, sort of thing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
you don't want someone like crazy and chaotic like that working for you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's wild.
No, and I have a company where I have a team that works for me, Wild Society Weddings, and plug. And so I give a dress code to everybody. They know what the expectations are. If I ever were to have someone show up unprofessionally. Like, I'm sorry, but like there's a level of communication, right? To where it's like, oh, maybe you shouldn't have worn that. They were offended that you wore a tank top or something stupid. But if you show up in a white sheer shirt where your nipples are out, like that's so far over the line that it's just like, oh, you lack decency.
This is just a little much.
It's a little much.
Yeah, but the bride and groom are not assholes because they did the right thing. They went about it the right way. I mean, I'm not just going to not say anything if you want honest feedback.
Right.
But also, they're not giving a terrible review either.
Right.
Yeah, this is all on the girl everyone makes their own decisions. So.
And they were so nice about it because maybe they could have called her out day of. Like, that would have
I would have.
Their coordinator should have. Like, if you don't want to have...
should have... You know what? But you don't know. Maybe somebody did say something to her and they just don't know.
That's true.
Someone could have said something to her and maybe she got defiant or whatever and was just kind of like, maybe, or defensive. Yeah.
If it was my wedding, I would go to my coordinator because I wouldn't want to have the conversation with her on my wedding day. No. But I would go to the coordinator and be like, you need to find her a shirt to wear.
There you go.
And then there's no issue.
I'm so nice. I would have been like, here's a tank top. Like, I would have been like, here's a tank top.
Darling.
Here you go.
Oh, there's a nice way of saying it. Yeah. I wouldn't have said it harshly.
But say, if she acts this crazy after the fact, imagine if you would have. In the moment, you probably don't want to jeopardize your photos by actually saying something because the confrontation, maybe they were kind of like scared to say something because they were like, oh, well.
Yeah.
Her, our images are in her hands today.
That's a
so
good
you're
point.
Kind of wanting to tiptoe around anyways. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. I hate this situation.
Not the asshole. The photographer is absolutely the asshole.
Okay.
Yikes.
So, yeah.
All right. So we are going to do one more story, and I actually have 4 more still. Okay. So, but I don't want to do them all in one episode because then it'll be crazy long. So we'll split this into 2 episodes. So this will come out, and then a week later or 2 weeks later, I don't know, whenever I feel like it, the other episode will come out.
There's just so much gossip.
There's so much
drama.
Oh man, there's some good ones in here too. Okay. So this next one is a little bit more, I would say, like emotional. There's more at play with it. So I'll just read you the title. Am I the asshole for flipping out on my fiance for firing our wedding photographer who is my brother? Mine and my fiance's wedding is approaching. We've agreed on many, many decisions together except for this one. I wanted to hire my brother, 31 male, to be our wedding photographer. The thing is, he's disabled and has one functioning eye. Because of that, he was robbed of doing what he loves as a career, but he does this as a hobby. And his photos are always deep and done with so much creativity. There's something about the way he captures photos that I cannot quite pinpoint. My fiance was shocked at first, but then said, hell no. He told me to let his mom pay for a photographer, but I refused because my father and mother-in-law has been insisting on paying their way into taking over wedding planning, and I'm not letting it happen. I'm not giving them a chance to say whatever whenever they say I can help pay for that, but then we get a say. I told my brother, and he said he was honored by my request and offered to do it for free. My fiance made a fuss about it, but then stopped bringing it up. Yesterday, I found out he fired my brother as our wedding photographer and hired a new one. I called my fiance after I got the phone with my brother's girlfriend, and we had an argument when I got home where I flipped out on him. His mom came and tried to get involved, and I told her off, but she told me she paid for the new photographer, so she gets a part in this discussion. I was absolutely stunned. I told my fiance that he insulted my brother and went behind my back to do what he wanted eventually. He said it was our wedding, not just mine, and I can't keep putting my brother's feelings first and making the wedding all about him and his skills, and doing that at everybody else's expense. He said that the wedding photos are not for life, just for us, but for the families as well, and that I should just let us pay for a photographer who knows what he's doing. I asked if my brother's disability is the reason he doesn't want him as our photographer, and he said no, but he just didn't feel comfortable with it. After the argument, I went to stay with a friend of mine, and the issue hasn't been resolved yet. My fiance keeps insisting that I overreacted and I should just let it go. Am I the asshole?
This one's really complicated.
It's so sad.
I mean, yeah, like, I feel like I initially want to play devil's advocate.
Ooh.
Because I can see it from both sides.
Don't get canceled, girl.
No, I mean,
no. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. This isn't honest. We're here for honesty.
I mean, okay. Like, okay. it says in there, like, he does it as a hobby.
Right.
The brother with the one eye. It does it.
Yeah, it
as
says
a hobby.
He has one functioning eye, and because of that, he was robbed of doing what he loves as a career, but he does it as a hobby. His photos are always deep and done with so much creativity.
Right. Which is great, but he's not a wedding photographer.
So I think that's the issue for me, not his disability or his talent level. Like, I fully believe he takes incredible photos.
Sure, but he's not a wedding photographer, and that's maybe
you should
the
hire
issue here.
Someone who knows how a wedding goes.
And maybe the fiance is thinking, because I can see it from both sides. So, like, here's the one side, right? Like, he's not a wedding photographer and he's not getting paid. So there's not that incentive there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like he's like this professional photographer who does this for a living. He specializes in weddings. Like, he knows what he's doing on the wedding day, yada, yada, yada. Right? So, like, you know, at this point, the fiance, the man, has probably thought, oh, I've heard stories like this about free photography and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Or working with family, or, you know.
That's true.
So that's like maybe the one perspective. But I do also get what she's saying, because she kind of had this set up. They already said he could do it.
Right.
And then it's kind of icky for him to go behind her back and just fire. Like, I don't like that. So I think they're both not...
Clearly, they aren't good communicators because he's saying, this is our wedding, not just yours. Like, okay, but have that discussion first and have a heart-to-heart where it's like, hey, it's not about your brother's disability. It's because they're not a trained wedding photographer. And I'm concerned that they don't know enough about weddings. Not, oh, he has one eye.
Right.
Like,
no,
I don't think that's the issue.
Yeah, like, why? Yeah. And of course, she would bring that up, too, to be like, oh, is it the disability thing? But also, you know what, though? Like, maybe she kind of left her fiance out of this decision and just kind of did whatever she wanted to do without really consulting him either.
Well, yeah,
because then he was like, well, she didn't consult me, so then why do I have to consult her about finding a different photographer?
And she told the brother without consulting him at first.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So since that, I mean, he did the exact same thing as her. Like, okay, well, now we both have hired photographers.
It kind of sounds, I just already know what the relationship's like.
Oh, no.
I feel like it's just like, well, you did this, so I'm going to get you back.
Don't get married if that's where you're already at.
Yeah. Like, if they're not even married and it's like that, maybe just don't get married. Also, she's not staying to figure it out with him in the same house. Yeah. She went and stayed with a friend, which is also a red flag. Like, don't get married if you're just going to leave.
If you're already upping in.
Right. Like, oh, well, you made me mad, so I'm just going to go stay with so-and-so. I'm going to go stay with a friend. I'm going to go stay with my parents because I can't be around you right now. Like, that's actually not how you resolve things when you're married either.
She asked if it was her brother's disability as the reason that he didn't want him as the photographer, and he said no.
Right.
He just didn't feel comfortable.
Right.
Could it have been he wasn't comfortable because of
writing this?
Yeah, this is from her.
I want to hear his side of the story, but I know that's not how Reddit works.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they find the post and they're like, hey, Megan, or whatever the name is. It's like, blah, blah, blah. Here's my side of things.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some spice in the Reddit community. The more I've done this podcast, I've seen I'm like so excited about some of the ones I have coming out. But
this is sad though, because I feel bad. I'm like, maybe y'all shouldn't even get married if it's going to be like this. But then also I'm kind of feel bad for the brother because I wonder what his perspective is too. And I don't know.
Yeah, it is a womp-womp situation for sure.
Know.
But I think there's other creative ways to get the brother involved to where he feels like his photography is important. Like have him do the engagement session, have him cover the rehearsal or something like that.
Or he works with the photographer that they hired.
Right.
To
you
capture
could find someone
things
who'd
too.
be willing to do that.
Because he can kind of take his time and do really creative shots, but he's not responsible for the whole day. So why couldn't they come to a compromise like that? Does he have to be the only one responsible?
Like all or nothing.
Right, exactly.
And then also the bride, it says her age is 25. So I don't know how old the brother is, but you know, they're all adults. It's not like it's necessarily like a 17-year-old brother who can't regulate his emotions.
Right.
But
you never know.
17-year-olds should be able to. I'm just thinking of like guys named Kyle, not your husband. But like Kyle with the monster who like punches a hole in the wall. You remember that meme?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Anyway, rabbit hole. But
I don't like this story either.
There's just no communication.
Icky. Yeah, there's no communication. It just doesn't feel right. I feel like there could have been solutions, but she's being stubborn. Sounds like he's kind of stubborn too. And I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. Everyone sucks here.
Yeah, everyone sucks. But I
Not
will
the
say,
brother.
No. Not the brother. I kind of feel a little bit bad for him
Why
that he was
too?
like let go. Because you wonder how that
Yeah.
conversation went too. But also, maybe it went down okay. You know what I mean?
Like, he could have been, he said he was honored, and maybe it also like stressed him out because he's not a wedding photographer, not
Right.
because of his
I
disability.
feel like, there's just like not enough information. And I feel like sometimes when only one person writes this, it's like they're making it their version of things.
Exactly.
To share. So that's the thing too, and how I feel about this.
Yeah.
Like we just, yeah. So
we need to
anyways.
know his side.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure he was steamrolled.
Yeah.
And there was more to the conversation.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think I'm actually more on the fiance's side than on her side.
Mm.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I don't know. I just that's kind of what I'm feeling. That's like the vibe for me is like I'm more on his side of things.
But
'Cause
I still
feel like
think
it's
they
the more
both
responsible
suck.
thing of thinking. I don't know.
He should have told her. Also, getting the in-laws involved was rude. Like, that are
Yeah.
already trying to take over the wedding. And then you're like, hey, mommy, come pay
Yeah.
for my new
Also,
photographer.
she told her future mother-in-law off too. I mean, this sounds just like a mess. Just don't even get married. Well,
Don't
they're
get
already
married.
probably married.
Maybe they didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't look to see if there was an update. Sometimes they
No, that's funny.
Probably not, because it probably didn't end well
On
for
your
her.
list of priorities of things to do. Oh, I should probably update people on this old Reddit thread.
Yeah. You're like mid-divorce. You're like,
Right. Oh, might as well. It's like,
turns out I was the asshole.
like, how is that on anybody's list of priorities?
You'd be surprised what people put on the internet.
Yeah. My life is just structured so differently. Okay.
All right, let's wrap up on that episode, and then we'll come back for a part 2 in like maybe 2 weeks. So where can people find Tea and Toast on the internet?
Yeah. So you can find my loose leaf tea company at Tea and Toast Shop on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, it's cute. It's very well curated.
Yeah, we love it.
And then for me, you can find my work at 1828 Collective on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to see more about the podcast, you can go to 1828 Photo Education on Instagram. I think that's it. I have too many Instagram accounts now. But
I know it's hard to keep
anyway,
up with.
we will see you guys next week.